You've tuned in to the 49ers Rush podcast, and here is your host, John Chapman.
Well, the 49ers sure are interesting to watch. We lose a freaking heartbreaker. I promised myself I wouldn't cuss on this podcast tonight. So let's see how we do. We lose just an awful game. 33-30 to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does and led his team to a last-second win. And this was a rough one because, man, we were in the driver's seat pretty much the entire time. Absolutely great game by our offense. You take away the turnovers, and, it got bad at the end. And we'll break all that down. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the offensive drives, players, MVPs, all those things. And then we will go through the defensive drives, players, MVP, and all that stuff. So it's going to be a long episode, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And the good thing is there's a lot of good things to take away from this game, and there's a lot of bad things. Robert Saleh, this loss is on him. Solely, it's on him. Our offense played well enough. Our defense played well enough. But at the end, coaching matters, and our coach, defensive coordinator, you got to chalk this up on him, and we'll talk about all those things. Such an interesting game. You know, we fall to 1-5. We are tied for last place in the entire NFL. We're last place in our division, which is bad unless you're just focusing on draft, which as of right now we would have a top 3 pick. So that's kind of what it is. But before this game, man, we had 9 straight Monday Night Football wins. The 49ers did before this game. And unfortunately, that streak ends. It's what it is. We continue. We don't force any turnovers. We have the worst turnover rate in the entire NFL, and we have the lowest number of sacks in the entire NFL, which have been problems for a very, very, very long time. Now, our MVP, which there's 2 people that it could be. Marquise Goodwin returning was absolutely lights out. 4 catches, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns on 5 targets. Man, we missed that guy. But you got to give it to the quarterback. Holy cow, 16 of 23. That is insane efficiency for C.J. Beathard. 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception with 115 quarterback rating. And again, that interception, it was a big deal, but it was 3rd down and 3. We were facing an all-out blitz the last time we touched the ball, and he decided to go for the win, which I don't fault him against man coverage. He underthrew it a little bit with the blitz in his face, and it was picked off about 40 yards downfield, which we were going to punt it. It put them on the 10, so that's one of those risks. It's okay to take. Obviously, I wish it wasn't intercepted, but it wasn't the end of the world. We eventually lost the game, but it's what it is. So now let's talk about inactives, the people that didn't play. Trent Taylor, Pettis, Sean Coleman, Josh Garnett, Cole Wick, Julian Taylor, DJ Jones. No big surprises there. Now, with Trent Taylor out, it was interesting. We just got rid of the slot. we ran 21 personnel, what that means is usually the backs go first, which is, we had 2 running backs, usually Juszczyk and one of the other running backs, Breida or, whoever, and then a tight end. So we were in 21 personnel and 22 personnel pretty much the entire game, which means we only have enough room for 2 wide receivers. We didn't do 3 wide very much. We didn't do 4 wide very much. And if you were watching the coverage, ESPN flashed a stat that said that we run the most 21 personnel in the entire league. Again, we use a fullback more than anybody, 42%. So almost half of our snaps, I would argue, I haven't seen the snap counts out yet, but I would argue we were in that probably 70% of the time tonight. Just because, again, we lost Trent Taylor, and we wanted to max protect and make sure, and it worked. Our offense was fire. Absolutely great. Injuries, nothing too bad. Tavarius Moore, backup DB, our 3rd-round pick out of Southern Miss, who's playing corner. He got hurt on a kickoff, which he drew a holding call and negated a 66-yard return. He walked off. Breida limped off with an ankle, came back late, and then left again. Colbert left late and came back, but he didn't make one play the entire game. And Tart, Jaquiski Tart, who's been struggling with shoulders issues for a full year, played okay, but he got drilled by Reuben Foster late with only 2 minutes left, and who knows where he is at. That's kind of where that is. So injuries weren't too bad. Now, here's what I want to focus on. We had 11. We had 11 drives offensively and 3 turnovers. Now, again, we don't force a turnover, and we have 3. We have 2 fumbles, 1 on the kickoff return, Juszczyk on the amazing catch and pass, and then fumbled whenever he got hit, and then the interception late that I already talked about. We didn't force any. And again, you lose the turnover battle 3-0, and you have the lead late in the fourth quarter, you are lucky. We do not protect the ball. We don't protect the ball. And it could be more because, again, CJ, the worst thing about CJ is so many tip passes. He had 3 tip passes at the defensive line of scrimmage. People get their hands on the ball with this slow wind-up pass whenever he's comfortable, and he telegraphs his passes as bad as anybody. He doesn't always do it, but when he does it, it is bad. So now let's focus on these drives. Like I said, we had 11 drives, and we started off amazing. First drive of the game, we get 4 first downs. 7-play, 4-minute drive for 75 total yards to start the game, and Breida gets an awesome touchdown run. It looked amazing. Kyle Shanahan can script a game to start out as well as anybody in the NFL. It's usually the ending of the game where we're the exact opposite of the Packers. We can start off fairly well, but it gets worse and worse and worse. The second drive, we punt after a tipped pass on 3rd and 2. Third drive, touchdown pass to Goodwin for 67 yards. Absolutely amazing pass and catch. Goodwin is the real deal. We are not the same without him. We have to have that guy out there. He is as important a player as anybody on our entire offense because he opens up everything. The run game with Kyle Shanahan is always going to be great just because of the blocking scheme and what he does with movement and matchups and all those things. But whenever you can take the top off of a defense, like Marquise Goodwin can, then great things will happen. Right after that, we have a fumble by Juszczyk on the very first play of the drive. That hurt us big time because, again, it was a huge play, and it looked like we were just going to keep moving. 5th drive, touchdown to Goodwin for 30 yards. He keeps going. 6th drive, right before the half, 46-yard field goal as time expired. And one of my favorite plays of the game, I'm going to have to break this down on my Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go to at JL_Chapman. I'm going to be doing a couple video breakdowns this week, kind of coaching notes where I hover over certain things. And this Juszczyk play is going to be on there because what happened was it's 3rd and 9, and they do an all-out blitz. And they're in cover 0, which means every person's manned up with no safety over the top. And Juszczyk steps up on the left side B gap, so in between the tackle and the guard. And they're doing an overload blitz where they're bringing more people than we have blocking. And Juszczyk kind of jumps sideways, blocks one guy with his shoulder and blocks another guy with his hip/butt, and picked up 2 blitzing backers, a nickel back and a will backer, all by himself. He picked up these 2 guys, and because of that, he took off. CJ took off and scrambled for, just a huge first down, and we were able to get the field goal as time expired, which was just huge positive. We come out at halftime, still firing. Field goal, 44 yards. 8th drive, field goal, 43 yards. Several great run plays. And then after that, we shut it down, man. We ended this as poorly as possible on offense. 9th drive, 3-and-out punt. We were backed up on the 4 after the great goal line stand. We didn't do anything. We didn't waste any time either off the clock. 10th drive, 3-and-out. Trying to run out the clock, it didn't go well. 11th drive, interception on 3rd and 3 on an all-out blitz. So if we would have just got something, those last 3 drives, that's not how you end a game. 3-and-out, interception. The 9th and 10th drive, not the very last one, but the 2 right before that, you could tell we changed our scheme. We changed our play calling. We were not aggressive. We were just running out the clock. That's all we wanted to do, and it cost us. All we would have had to do is get 1 or 2 first downs on either one of those drives, and they wouldn't have had a chance. But it's what it is. If let's go through just kind of the stats on offense. And let me say this too. Our offensive line, this is the best offensive line game that we have had in probably 2 years. They played phenomenal, namely Mike McGlinchey. Holy cow. Mike McGlinchey is not only the best offensive lineman we have right now, I'm telling you right now, he is a top 5 tackle in the NFL. And I'm not talking right tackle, I'm talking period. The way he manhandled absolutely manhandled not only the defensive line, but also Goldilocks for the Packers. I mean, he was tossing him around. It was absolutely a blast. I don't even want to say his name because it was great. But Mike McGlinchey's amazing. I'm just telling you that right now. Raheem Mostert was actually our leading rusher, which is, I don't know, it doesn't even make sense. 12 carries, 87 yards, 7.3 yards average per carry, was just phenomenal. Ran behind his pads the whole night, pushing the pile, and looked explosive. Breida, 14 rushes, 61 yards, and the touchdown. He got banged up late. This is kind of what it's going to be with that ankle. He's going to be able to play till he gets low ankle tackled, and then he's going to take himself out. So, and also CJ, 3 rushes for 21 yards. That was huge. A couple first downs on that he was able to fight for. Now, target-wise, Pierre Garçon led our team in targets with George Kittle. Both ended up getting 4 catches. Pierre had 37 yards, and Kittle had 30 yards. But everything was about Goodwin tonight. 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns is just insane. The 2 fumbles, Juszczyk and DJ Reed on the kickoff return, we benched him after that, and that was kind of it for him. But again, I just want to say shout out to our O-line. They are playing amazing. The right side of our offensive line with, Richburg, Pearson, and McGlinchey is just unreal. We will continue to move the ball against any defense in the NFL if they continue to play this way. So that's kind of the offensive scheme and breakdown of this game. You score 30 points, you're supposed to win. 28 is kind of the magic number in the NFL. I've been saying that basically all year. And I said, if we get to 30 points with our defense, we should be able to win, and we should have won this game. But it wasn't enough late. I want to go ahead and take time to thank our sponsor, Game Day Sports and Memorabilia. And again, if you're not following me on Twitter, head over there. We are giving away an autographed Frank Gore mini helmet that is just freaking amazing. All you have to do, it's my pinned tweet on @JL_Chapman. Retweet it and say something nice about the podcast. That's it. That's all you got to do. Obviously, you're already subscribed. I just want to say thank you for that. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. We're on everything. Stitcher, YouTube, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts. It doesn't matter. Google Play. We are on everything. Spotify, we're everywhere. So just type in 49ers Rush, hit subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And again, head over to Game Day Sports Memorabilia. They have everything. If you are looking for memorabilia for whatever team, whatever sport, they have it all. It's a great site, and it's an awesome group of people that run it over there. Let them know the 49ers Rush podcast sent you. I'd very much appreciate it. Now, let's jump over to defense. Man, it's a good game, because things went back and forth, and, man, we had lots of good stops. I'll go through all of the drives here in a second, and, man, we had a stretch for about 5 drives where we just shut them down, which was great. Now, my MVP, Ronald Blair III. Holy cow. 2 tackles for loss and a sack. And again, he could have had another sack, but it was called back on a penalty. 4 tackles, 2 solo tackles. He was just amazing. Again, our kind of Achilles heel as a defense is getting to the quarterback. And if we can get to the quarterback, we got a shot to win. Reuben Foster was also amazing. 8 solo tackles. Just played great. Richard Sherman's Richard Sherman. He got that penalty late, but hey, man, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's go through these drives. Man, right off the bat, Robert Saleh is a terrible coach. I just want to be honest with you. He might be a great coordinator eventually, this being his very first time to be DC. He was the linebackers coach for Jacksonville under Gus Bradley. But there's so many things we're not prepared for. As I was going through film with @JJ Gosh and watching stuff, I saw the diamond package. Green Bay showed us the diamond package where they send 4 wide receivers out in literally the shape of a diamond out of the huddle. You saw it. They've shown it to us. Well, Robert Saleh did not prepare his defense for this, because on the very first drive, they go out there and they do this diamond package in the red zone. Our defense has 0 clue what to do, and we gave away a touchdown. That's coaching and preparation. You got to put that on the defensive coordinator. Now, the very first play of the game on defense was awful. Jimmy Ward, he doesn't know what cover 3 is. He chases basically a post route to the middle third, which he's not supposed to be in. It wasn't rolled. We had a safety there, and he just left a wide open player go for 60-plus yards right off the bat. And then the second, it's just bad on bad on bad. The first drive sucked. But we kind of straightened up a little bit after that. The second drive, they get a field goal, and Ward actually started playing very, very well. If you look at the second drive all the way up till the very last drive, whenever they benched him or he was injured, I don't know, I haven't heard yet. No clue why he wasn't in there. He played absolutely incredible and was very physical with Devontae Adams. He got burned once, but still played very, very well. He forced a field goal after a great stop. And again, the second drive of the game, this was after a short field. This was after Reed fumbled on the kickoff return. Again, he got benched. They put in Richie James back there, who did a good job. But to hold them to a field goal was huge. Third drive, touchdown pass to Davante Adams. Colbert blew a cover 2 zone. It was in the red zones. We usually do a cover 3, kind of a hybrid with a single high safety. We were in a very simple cover 2 under shell, and man, we do not run zone coverage well. Again, just saying, I've said this before. This is coaching. It's on Saleh. Yes, it's zone, but whenever a man crosses your face in your zone, you then change to man as long as he is in your zone coverage. And if you go back and watch this, Colbert just watches him just run right across his face. I don't understand it. I don't know what he's doing. And the problem is this: Colbert's playing as bad as any person in the entire NFL, because not only is he having lots of bad plays, which everybody does, not everybody, but a lot of people do if you play for the 49ers defense, he just doesn't have any positive plays. He's nowhere around the ball where he needs to be. He's usually out of the shot of the camera. He's not doing anything positive. I really do wish we would move on from him. Maybe he needs time to watch, because we've seen him play great. But here we are right now, 6 games in, and this guy probably is one of the worst graded safeties in the entire NFL, maybe even defenders. So he's got to change this. Anyway, it's what it is. We didn't get a lot of pressure in the first half. The fourth drive, we get a punt after the intentional grounding. The very first time we got pressure was on Malcolm Smith. He came off the edge. And again, the only time we're getting pressure is when we generate pressure ourselves by blitzing or stunting, things like that. And absolutely awesome play by Malcolm Smith, forced the punt. Fifth drive, 39-yard field goal. This was another short field after Kyle Juszczyk lost his fumble. And man, we almost got him off the field, but it was a 4th and 4. And we didn't spy Rodgers, and he ran for the first. But again, they almost scored a touchdown, but it was nice coverage again by Jimmy Ward against Davante Adams. Big surprise, guys. Davante Adams, top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Then Aaron Rodgers, maybe the number 1 or number 2 quarterback in the NFL. You got to stop those two guys, and it didn't seem like that was part of our game plan at all. Sixth drive, we got a 3-and-out, which was awesome. Coverage shack by Sheldon Day and DeForest Buckner. Buckner had a great game. He had 1 sack wiped away by a defensive penalty, but he played well. That was halftime. So they had 6 drives in the first half and 6 in the second half. They come out, they get a 51-yard field goal. Blair and Buckner got a tackle for loss, and then Buckner got pressure up the middle and forced Aaron Rodgers to throw it away to force the field goal, which was great. 8th drive. Again, this is when we got good. Punt after Buckner and Malcolm Smith kind of half sack. 9th drive, turnover on downs on the 4-yard line. This is when it was looking like we were going to win. Kwan Williams made an absolutely amazing play. He was out of phase, and the wide receiver was running a simple cover route out of the slot. He just kept his body between the quarterback and the wide receiver. It was awesome. Amazing pass defense, even though the ball hit him in the back. He played it perfectly. A very, very textbook. Kwan Williams is one of the best players that we have on this defense. 10th drive, punt with 4 minutes left after the Ronald Blair sack on 3rd down. Man, that's it. That's all we had to do. 4 minutes left, 10-point game. We should be good. But what happens? We bench, or I don't know if Jimmy Ward got hurt, but we send in Maben. Maben gets toasted nonstop from this point out. The 11th drive touchdown pass to Adams. Maben completely misjudged the pass and tried to jump and tip it. It was awful. The play before that was a deep pass to Davante Adams again. You're going to keep hearing that name. Maybe we should scheme to stop it. Reuben Foster is guarding Davante Adams one-on-one, 30 yards downfield, and Adrian Colbert is nowhere to be found over the middle of the field. It baffles me. What the hell is going on? Makes no sense. 12th drive. This is when they get the field goal with 27 yards for the win. It doesn't make sense. Why is Maben still in there? He was targeted 5 straight plays. Whoever he guarded caught the ball, and we did nothing. The camera's focusing in on Maben during the game, and you can see he is shook. He is on full tilt, and we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. Sherman's trying his hardest to help because he's switching the entire defense on the field because our damn defensive coordinator doesn't know what the hell's going on. So Richard Sherman's our acting defensive coach on the field, switching up coverages on his own, making sure that he guards Davante Adams. Now, the Green Bay coaches who make coaching adjustments during the game, unlike our coach, they recognize that and send them to the opposite side on a motion, free him up against Greg Maben, catch, and they get the field goal for the win. Robert Saleh needs to go. Our defense is not prepared. I'm pretty pissed off right now, if you don't know. Anyway, let's just go over 4 simple reasons why this guy's got to go as defensive coordinator. And I like him as a person. I like his energy. I love his press conferences. But in-game adjustments, man, you're not making anything and you're not prepared. So the defense isn't prepared. We're very poor fundamentally. We're leading the NFL in missed tackles still. We had better game this week than we have tackling, but we still had several missed tackles. The defensive end, on a naked bootleg, we have the defensive end crashing all the way to the interior A-gap and allowing the quarterback to run free. And you can tell because we've done this all year. And Saleh, he's had his press conferences. He's like, oh, no, he's supposed to do that. And the outside linebacker's supposed to basically gap exchange is what it's called. So the defensive end is the outside force player. He crashes into the A gap or where the center would be on the fake dive because, again, on this bootleg, you leave the defensive end unblocked. Solomon Thomas crashes in. We don't have an outside linebacker anywhere present to rotate over in a gap exchange because they motioned him across in man coverage. This is middle school football. And we did not make any adjustments until the 4th quarter on this play. If you go back and watch the film, which I'm pretty excited to do tomorrow, I'm going to be putting some cut-ups again online. But the idea is this. You've got to see what they're doing. The Green Bay coaches took advantage of our rookie DC and owned him all game. This is just bananas. So either Solomon Thomas is awful, which I think he is awful on the outside. He doesn't ever need to play there. And I loved it too because Jason Witten called out our defensive coordinator. Booger McFarland called out our defensive coordinator and said, what are they doing with this kid? He shouldn't be playing out there. He needs to be playing inside on pass downs at least. We don't do that at all. We're not even playing him inside at all anymore. He's playing less than 50% of the snaps and only on the outside where he has zero effect. We have completely ruined this kid's career. Obviously on Twitter, got into a couple arguments, but if you think Solomon Thomas is flourishing or we just need to wait, I don't understand what you are watching. I don't get it. Now, and again, our pass rush is terrible, but it seems like our entire plan for this game, we had all 4 defensive linemen bull rushing straight through the chest of their offensive linemen. We don't understand attack half a man. We're doing it intentionally. Like, this is being coached. DeForest Buckner has one of the best swim moves in the entire NFL. He is elusive and quick and very hard to get a hold of. But we are coaching that out of him. We are forcing him to attack through the middle. I don't understand. I don't. It's funny. I don't know. I don't understand our defensive scheme. It's like our goal is to not get pressure and not play sound gap integrity defense, which you're not going to be successful. Anyway, it's what it is. As I said earlier, Buckner got another sack. He's up to 4.5 on the year, which is good. He's on a good pace. You know, he disappeared for a couple games. He should have had a whole nother sack that was wiped out, but it's what it is. But Ronald Blair is amazing. He came in. We need him to get more snaps on the outside. And he's playing the exact same position that Solomon Thomas is. He's the exact same size and makeup as Solomon Thomas is. The only difference is he's effective. He is in the backfield making plays, tackle for losses, sacks, pressures, hurries, all those things. Solomon Thomas does none of that. Reuben Foster and Fred Warner played pretty well in the middle. Foster looked incredible, just blowing people up everywhere, all over the place. Very, very excited for him. And Sherman played great. He just wasn't targeted, and nothing really went his way, which is to be expected. Is what it is. Robbie Gould, he's great. That guy is really, really good. Again, field goals 46 yards good, 44 yards good, and 43 yards good. So you go 3 for 3 there. You should have won this game. I'm pissed off. I got mad again. But that's kind of what we got for the 49ers Rush podcast. And, man, we got to be careful because we have played a few games where we should have won. And now what do we got this week? We got our division opponent, the only undefeated team in the NFL, the 6-0 Rams, coming to our house. So we got to step up our game. This is definitely a winnable game. And what I mean by that is, yeah, on paper, they should totally destroy us. But whenever you look at in-divisional games and you are at home, all bets are off. Again, if you looked at this game against Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Vegas had us as 10.5-point underdogs, and we should have won. We lost the very last second, covered the spread, so on and so forth. We have the most games in the past 2 years decided by 3 points or less. I think we are tied now with Detroit. That's just kind of who we are. So anyway, stay strong, faithful. Really appreciate you guys. Hang in there. Good things are coming. Stay strong, faithful.